Hey everyone, welcome back to Drake Here's Dungeon. 3 videos in a row. I want to introduce you to my friend here. This here is Patches. Say hi, Patches. You want down, Patches? You want him to sit there? I don't know if Patches is going to stay with us or is going to take off. We'll find out. But all right, so little piece of the New York Times that I picked up today that I thought was an interesting read. Chris Wallace of the New York Chris Wallace of Fox News calls Democratic debate ban short-sighted. If you didn't hear about this, the Democratic Party said they will not hold any primary debates on Fox News, and so this is, I think, a little short-sighted, and I agree. Or I think it's short-sighted, just like I think Chris Wallace thinks it's short-sighted. Do I like Fox News? Not necessarily. Do I think that there's a lot of voters out there that watch Fox News? Yeah, I think so. Chris Wallace sounded a bit wistful and a little bit wry. "I'm disappointed," he said by telephone on Thursday. There would have been a certain man-bites-dog quality to it, the Democrats showing up on Fox. But Mr. Wallace, the Fox News Sunday moderator, has put aside his hopes for a Fox News-sponsored Democratic primary debate on Wednesday, when Democratic officials rejected the idea of in an unusually sharp rebuke. To be banned or boycotted for the 12 debates over the next year is kind of stunning. There are lots of voters that a Democrat is going to need to get elected president who watch Fox News. People in the Rust Belt states and rural areas that Hillary Clinton lost. They would have been able to see the Democratic candidates make their arguments about why they are better to represent their interests. This is true. The Democratic chairman, Tom Perez, attributed his rejection of Fox News in part to an article published by The New Yorker that he wrote chronicling the inappropriate relationship between President Trump and his administration and Fox News. What about your relationship that you had with the Obama administration, or your relationship that you had with the Clinton administration? If you go back to the Clinton administration, that gets some really dicey stuff going on. Mr. Wallace, a formidable interviewer who in 2016 became the first Fox News journalist to moderate a general election debate, seemed dubious about that. And actually, Wallace's debate was one of the highest rated debates because of his balanced nature, the way he questioned and challenged both candidates. Do I think Tom Perez read the New York article and suddenly said, "Oh my gosh, there's gambling going on in the back room"? No, he said there is a visceral antipathy to Fox News among the left wing of the Democratic Party, and I think they saw this as a good opportunity to make a decision that I'm sure the DNC was under a lot of pressure to make. And this is the problem. The DNC needs to take their head out of their ass and stop catering to that small percentage of left-wing advocates or activists that are extremely loud and noisy, and listen to their disenfranchised moderate section. Hey, you. Fox News has had poor luck persuading Democrats to allow its journalists, who the network says operate separately from its partisan pundits, to host an official forum for the party's presidential candidates. Executives there spent months lobbying Democratic officials for a 2020 opportunity, though its protests this time look dimmer than ever. And I think that it's ridiculous. Do you want to be president of the United States of all of the people, or do you just want to be president of the United States just for the people that elected you? I think that's one thing that Donald Trump gets wrong, is that he was elected by all people in America, or he was elected by people in America to represent all people in America. Obama seemed to be able to get this through his head. Bush seemed to be able to get this through his head. Clinton seemed to be able to get this through his head, and we can go back and back and back. I guess you could say, starting with Bush II, we started seeing more partisan catering to the elected, or catering to the electorate that elected you. But for the most part, it's we are Americans and we are governing for America, not just we are Republicans, we are governing for Republicans, or we are Democrats and we're governing for Democrats. The only way to get that message out is to show up on the other team's news network. After all, Mr. Trump is a devoted viewer who responds in real time to Fox and Friends. Okay, fine, he watches Fox and Friends. I don't care. And neither should you. People like Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters consult with Fox News commentators on their policy decisions and sees his talking points beamed back at him every weeknight during Fox News primetime block. That's a misrepresentation. So do the Democrats kind of have a point? Not really. I can't understand where some of the programming on Fox News at various parts of the day would give Democrats heartburn. Of course, Mr. Wallace said, but I can also understand why that programming on, while there's programming on in parts of the day on CNN and MSNBC, or frankly on the broadcast networks, that would give Donald Trump and Republicans heartburn. So we can say that we have pundits in the news fields that are very, very anti the other side. Yeah, that's kind of the point of punditry, isn't it? The question is, can you distinguish between the serious, straight news reporters and the opinion people? Noting that Rachel Maddow, the liberal opinion host, co-moderated an NBC News debate with Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders. And that, I felt, was very, very disingenuous and wrong. Are you going to let go of my... he's such a... He decided to stay, but he's been attacking me the whole time, haven't you? All right. Sean Hannity and other opinion people aren't going to be on stage with the candidates, Mr. Wallace added of a potential Fox News debate. Mr. Perez, the Democratic chairman, went out of his way to praise Mr. Wallace during a pair of TV appearances on Wednesday, telling Chris Hayes on NBC that my concern is not about Chris Wallace, it's about people above Chris Wallace. So what you're saying is you think that a award-winning journalist is going to compromise their belief and their integrity because their bosses tell them to. Now, you can't say that somebody's really good at their job and say, oh, but I'm afraid that the people above him are going to stop him from doing this. Why? Are you saying that you would stop people under you from doing something that was or that had journalistic integrity? Are you saying that you want people to lie? Are you saying you want people to not share the truth when it comes to what you're doing? While some liberals expressed glee at the Democrats' decision, the CNN host Chris Cuomo on Wednesday subjected Mr. Perez to an online grilling about the logic behind his decision. It seems like you are just asking for more division in a campaign season that's supposed to be about trying to find a way to have less division. Thank you, Chris Cuomo. And that's probably the first, last, and only time you'll hear me say those words. I see my role as making sure that everything we do is ensuring that our candidates are treated fairly. There's the problem. You're saying that if your candidates are not treated with the kid gloves that you want them to be treated with, so that they are not challenged on anything that they believe or stand for, you don't want that to happen, because it takes your message that you're trying to create and it can turn it on its head. You don't want the American people to know the truth. You don't want the American people to make up their own decision. You want the American people to accept their medicine, which is whatever you decide you want it to be, and you want it to be spoon-fed to them, and you want them to shut the fuck up. You want them to shut the heck up and just do what you say, because that's the kind of authoritarian crap that the DNC has been peddling for decades. That's about all. The article kind of made me upset there. Okay, the president also weighed in, piping up on Twitter to threaten boycott or debates moderated by fake news networks in the general election. This does give President Trump a pretty good excuse to decide if and when he'll do debates in the general election. What if he decides not to debate anybody that's on CNN? What if he decides not to debate anybody if it's on MSNBC? Are you just going to have, that time slot just be the Democratic candidate standing up there and talking? That seems kind of wrong to do. If the Democrats are going to boycott certain venues, maybe the president will too, said Mr. Wallace. I think that'll be a huge mistake. I think that it's bad for our country, he added, but the Democrats have opened the door to the president being able to say, now we're going to pick and choose where we answer questions from. And that's not what needs to happen in this country. We need to have a greater debate, a greater understanding. If you want truth to be evident, you have to let all sides speak their truth. If you speak truth to power, you speak truth to people, and truth always comes out. Thank you, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Don't forget to follow us over on minds.com/Drake here, or over at Twitter @Drake here. And we will catch you on the flip side. Later.